you doing, everybody? It's Sunday morning. It's Mother's Day. I'm sure when people come on here, they're going to be saying Happy Mother's Day, to which I will either ignore it or say Happy Mother's Day to you too. I don't know, because I'm not a mother, obviously. Well, some people might think I'm a mother, but you know what I'm trying to say. All right, let's get comfortable here because I'm just setting up, and I'm here for Catch Up with Mayo, which I do pretty frequently. And that's just a chance for people to say hello, ask questions, share ideas, fix my collar. There's no way to do this that I know of before you're live. You can't just like prove yourself, you know. All right, folks or folk. It looks like we got one person here so far. It's 9 a.m. in the morning. I'm starting early. And when I start at 9 a.m. in the morning, it doesn't always mean there are going to be a lot of people present. So I guess this is not so bad when I do this live and I just talk, and if nobody's really here, okay, that's one thing. Am I making any sense? But the problem is, if you can call it a problem, there's going to be a playback if I decide to put this up as a video. If I leave this up as a video, which I usually do with the Catch Up with Mayo series, then even though right now there are only three people here, during the playback there can be. I'm not making sense. I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to convey it. Man, my hair looks green today. Man, I know. Weird sunlight today. Maybe it has something to do with this shirt. This would be good on St. Patrick's Day, huh? I don't know. What can I tell you? Trying to say that when people watch this as a playback, it doesn't matter if nobody's here. You know, I can just talk. Right now, I feel like nobody's listening to me when I talk, but when it's a video, people will be listening. I got 8 people here right now. All right. So, what can I say? We got great weather. The spring is coming in, which is what I like. My favorite time of year is summer, but I also like April, May, June, July, August, September, and October. My favorite time of year, in case you don't know, is April 1st to November 1st or October 31st. But Halloween's like the celebration of the end, really, because I have no need for November all the way through March, honestly. So, anybody got any comments to make? The 13 people here, but I don't have any comments that I can see yet. So, I got to keep rambling on. I don't really have much news, especially this early in the morning. I brought myself some Hall's cough drops, but what's interesting is, I mean, the whole thing is like, is it Spanish? I don't know how to read it, but I know what it is. All right, in case I get that dry throat, you know. Well, at least give me a comment, say hello or something, at least to let me know that the comments are working because there are 15 people here and I don't see any. This is going to be great on a playback. Uh, I want to talk about something when there are more people present, actually. And again, this is something I'm thinking of doing, and very often I will say something. Well, that's nice of you to say hello. The Adams family is here today. Um, Thank you. But, you know, I often change my mind a lot. You know, it's my right to change my mind. But one thing that I change my mind about a lot is whether or not I'm going to maintain separate channels. One here for Beatles and music mostly, and the other one for movies. I'm going through one of those periods, which I go through every now and then, where I am seriously considering again putting everything here, making Mean Mr. Mayo a nostalgia channel that has not just Beatles, but monster movies and horror movies and slasher movies and comedy movies and regular movies and dramas and westerns and Beatles again and drama and westerns and movies and Beatles, okay, and rant videos and Mayo's musings, where I think about maybe social annoyances or things in the world that I want to discuss, everything here. Um, I've tried this several times. Some of you know that I've attempted to go back and forth numerous times on this. Sometimes I bring movie content here, and then I say, it's not working so good. I'll go over and make a separate movie channel, which I have now. Presently, I have a channel that's called, at the moment, Movies with Mayo. Get it? Movies with mayonnaise. And yeah, I'm thinking of putting it all together. It's the same old thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Eddie, I didn't get to your comment here. Did you see my message about what I see a lot of messages from you lately, Eddie? I gotta say, there's a lot of messages, and I can't always help you with a lot of the things I wish I could. But you say, yeah, I know about that thing. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Paul is doing a Conan O'Brien thing, and I know some people have tickets already. It's sold out already. It's going to be the same old stories. $500 general admission. Oh, that's very cheap. Yeah, friggin' break, will you? $500. $200 would be pushing it, but it's better than five. But no, I'm not going to be going, and it's sold out. And I know at least one person who's going. I do believe that Beetle Vinyl 85, Marvin, is going. Uh, and I know a couple of other people who are going too. I know three people so far that are going. But I will not be one of them. But it's funny, on the ride up here this morning, I did put on a CD I have called Looking for Changes, which is a Paul McCartney performance at the Ed Sullivan Theater when he did the Up Close appearance on December 10 of 1992. And I was present. That was that show that I was lucky enough to win tickets to. I had never won tickets off the radio in my life before or since, but that particular day or a few nights before, I won tickets on the radio at the 2 o'clock in the morning, calling in, being a 25th caller, and I won, and I got to see Paul up close, and I mean up close. I was standing in the gap in the space between the area of the stage, and I was about 6, 7 feet away from Paul, which was wonderful. But anyway, so I got up close to Paul, and I got to see him perform a show, in 1992, up close. Hello, Henry. I know it's early in the morning, and not many people are here this hour. I wish more were, that we could have conversations, but maybe you folks here can keep it rolling, because until more people join, I don't have much to say, so just kind of wing it. So, Henry, what's your opinion on that? I think you're newer here than most people. Um, the idea of me, instead of having two separate channels, putting everything here: movies, Beatles, rants, horror, slasher, comedy, westerns, more Beatles, more solo Beatles, back and forth, everything here. Me and Mr. Mayo. Me and Mr. Mayo's nostalgia channel. What do you think? Honestly, you like them separate? I mean, hopefully it'll work out. But Henry, you seem to enjoy both the movies and the Beatles stuff, so that works out good for you. Some people may pick and choose, what they want to pay attention to, so. There you go, Astro Zombie. It's all Mayo. I know you, Astro Zombie. I think you're tired of this, right? If people want to watch the video, they will. It's all Mayo. This is true. This is true. But you know what happens there, Astro Zombie? What I'm a little concerned about, the problem with this is people unsubscribing. You know, if they're here primarily for Beatles, then they start getting inundated with Michael Myers Halloween movies or um, horror films from the 30s and 40s. In between the Beatles, you know, there's still going to be Beatles, a lot of Beatles. That's not going to change if I do this. But well, they say, the hell with this thing. People don't necessarily want their feed to be inundated with videos that they're not interested in. You know. Yeah, well, that's the thing. A lot of it has to do with the views. You're right. A lot of it, Henry, has to do with the views. I'd like to get more views. I don't get a lot of views on the movie channel. I get more here. You know, that's a big part of it. I wouldn't say that's the only reason that I'm thinking of doing it, but but a lot of you people who've been around before are sick of hearing this. I'm sure. I'm sorry. I'm usually pretty good with making my mind up and sticking to something, but sometimes on certain topics it requires experimentation, and sometimes I'm indecisive about something, depending on what it is. And when it comes to this topic, whether to have one channel for everything I do or split two split channels, it's tough. It's tough, and it's a gamble. It is. So I like to think that people will stick around, and I'll get even more people joining. And people will decide, as Henry said, which videos they'd like to see or not. So hopefully it wouldn't really change anything. So, yeah, I know it's early, and I'm trying to hold the fort here. Henry says if you move your movie channel to the main channel, you won't have to always worry about your movie channel name. That's true. That's true. Mean Mr. Mayo would be all of it. But then I have to think of a new avatar because I'm not going to use the avatar of me holding up the Ringo album with the glass if I'm doing an all-purpose channel. I gotta have to have a central, neutral Mayo logo. And I'll look at this. This will be more of a nostalgia channel. Used to say pop culture, but I don't really think so much. Pop culture really, indicates, I think, more present stuff, new stuff. Uh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, Mick64 says that he's more into movies than just the Beatles. Okay, that's cool. Well, please, whatever you do, stick around. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. And Henry reminds me that Beetle Babe does everything on one channel as well. Like, for example, I'm thinking of doing, Tuesday I'm going to be doing the movie show, the movie talk. And I'm thinking of doing it right here. I mean, Mr. Mayo. So don't get confused. I'm not 100% sure yet, although I'm pretty sure, but not 100, that I'm going to, as a test, I think I'm going to do the next live movie chat right here instead of doing it over on the movie channel. So, okay, I appreciate that. Not interested in the Beatles stuff, but like the movie and record store videos. Well, that's great. That's what I mean now. Pugsley from the Addams Family. That's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You see, as a person, I think I mostly do Beatles, but yet he's not interested in the Beatles really, but he's interested in the movies and the record store videos. So there you go. That's what I'm speaking about. That's that. But I appreciate that if you hang around and watch the stuff you are interested in. And it should work. I don't see why it wouldn't work. You know. I'm gonna have one of these Hall's cough drops. Throat is a little dry. Let's see how it goes. Here it is. It's funny, these are not the usual kinds. Yeah, I don't know about that, Henry. I don't know about that. If I do that, if I make the change to everything here, I am going to be taking just about all the content from the movie channel and moving it here. But I don't know if I'm going to also move the chats here. I may not. I may start all over again. I don't know. But I'm not sure either way. This doesn't taste like the usual. This is not the usual kind. All I know is everything is not in English yet. That's all I know. So what's going on, folks? What's on your so-called minds? Let's go. What is on your so-called minds? Never knew I had a movie channel. Oh yes. Well, no, it's not me. It's not me watching movies. It's not a reaction channel. Right now, the channel is called Movies with Mayo, and you can check it out. But beware that stay subscribed here because I'm probably going to combine the channels at some point. Paul, Psycho's Platters, what's going on, my good man? Pugsley is in North Massapequa. Interesting. You're close to the record store. Well, Fab Gab is called Fab because it's the Beatles. Fab Gab is only Beatles stuff. Penny Lane, what's going on? Penny Lane, you're in my ears and also in my eyes. So, there you go. In fact, I heard a live version of Penny Lane this morning in my car. Oh, Mick64 says I first subscribed to your channel when you were in your old apartment. You were like 12 or 13 when it started in the vinyl community. Don't watch it. Many of those videos anymore. Right. What was the last movie I watched lately? Yesterday I watched Abbott and Costello in the Navy. I've been trying to watch all my Abbott and Costello movies. I have a Blu-ray, and the quality was terrible. Just terrible. I'm sorry. Universal does crappy Blu-rays of early movies sometimes. They're very grainy. And that's a whole argument about grain or not. Good morning, Alan C. Records. Good morning. Good morning. You meant in 2013. Oh, because you're older, right? You're not 12. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're not 12 because you say 1964 because you're born in 64, right, MC? I get you. 12 or 13, 2012 or 2013. Yeah, I got you. Right. 59. Gotcha. I'm sorry I misunderstood you there, MC 64. Where do I normally get my Blu-rays from these days? Amazon. I'm sorry to say, I used to love the days when I could go into the Virgin Megastore or Suncoast Movies or Best Buy or Tower Video. But these days, everything's got to be, purchased online. Yeah, Alan, yeah, same old crap with the New York Mets, right? Alan, I have not watched a game. I have not watched a game. I am not a good fan. I am a fair weather fan. I've heard horrific things about the Mets. Scherzer cheating. He's cheating, and I heard everybody getting injured again. And I hear they lost like 11 out of 12 games. Screw the Mets. I'm sorry. I'm not getting involved with that. I'm not. I'm not gonna. When I first get the flavor of how it is, the feel of it. If they're doing lousy, which they are, and they look like they're going to be a 500 team or under, I'm not interested. That does not mean you have to win every game or have to be clear in first place. They could have a record of like 20 and like 15 or something, and I'll watch. But I'm not going to be freaking watching when they're a train wreck, you know? Well, you say Walmart and Best Buy still have Blu-rays and DVDs. I don't know how old you are, but when I was collecting at first, you had a lot more than they do now. I'm not talking about just new releases. Best Walmart and Best Buy really going downhill. Everybody's going downhill as far as how many physical media discs they're stocking on their shelves. Good stuff. They just have new releases, and not really thrilled about that. So that's what I mean. Like somebody asked me, what's the last movie I watched, and I say I watched Abbott and Costello in the Navy from 1941. Now, if all of a sudden you're watching Mr. Mayo's channel here, and you're basically a music or Beatles person, basically, and suddenly a video pops up, my review of Abbott and Costello in the Navy, are you going to give a rat's ass? And I understand if it's not your cup of tea, you could move on to another video. You don't have to watch that video. I understand that, but I want to make sure my channel stays interesting for everybody. Yeah, I know that Walmart still has some older stuff sprinkled in. It's kind of sad these days that Walmart probably has the best selection at this point of DVDs, Blu-rays, movies, physical media, you know, movies in general. Well, that's interesting, Alan, about that. I don't have that Best of Ringo, I'd like to get that the four disc Best of Ringo, but it's good to hear that the sound quality is good. Hey, Alan, does that mean you're going to start getting more into CDs instead of vinyl? Hmm? What do you think? Alan, I got to say something funny. As you probably know, I went to Chiller Theater with Robert S. So we're in the car, we're driving, and we're on the way to the convention. And I'm thinking, oh my God, again, I did not bring Alan's Pete Best autograph. And he told me he was going to be there at the Chiller. And I've just remembered now. But then I said, well, maybe he's not going. Maybe Alan's not going to Chiller because he didn't text me. And I'm sure next time you'll remind me whenever we're going to meet. So because yeah, is the biggest record store still Amoeba? I think so. Henry works at Walmart, can confirm they have the best selection of Blu-rays. Yeah. Well, in a way, you didn't miss anything in the sense that you really can't hang out there very well like you can at the Beetle Fest, and you get to hang out more at the Beetle Fest. So, well, I know the Beatles are available on Amazon for sure. Yes. Ah, you got your OLED TV this past week. I love it. Makes me want to get more into Blu-ray than I've been in the past. Ah, you paid for it with a 401k withdrawal. Yeah. Yeah, I'm supposed to get my TV. I'm getting my new TV, 4K TV, Thursday. It's going to be delivered Thursday. I couldn't care less about the royalty, so don't even ask me about the coronation. I could be more bored in my life. Um, but as I said, we decided to pass on the OLED. We didn't get an OLED. I forget what the heck we got. Hello, Alexis. I don't know what you were saying before. You had said earlier something that I didn't really know what it was, what you were referring to. You said that's the most known. Well, my old TV, it's starting to get a lot of spots on it. I have a Samsung. I have now a Samsung 55-inch TV, and I've had it 9 years, and it's starting to get like these dots, these bright dots. One of them's in the corner, one of them's low like that. I was dealing with it for a while, and I said, "No, enough of that. Time to get a new set." Dead pixels. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Dead pixels. Yeah, those dots. Yeah, it sucks. They don't last that long. Well, I hope I didn't get. I really hope I didn't screw up because I have a very dark room. When I watch TV, my room is dark. I have the lights out. I have the blinds down, covering the windows. Very dark. I don't need for a bright room. So I hope I didn't screw up because if I screwed up, that's going to be a problem. I should have got an OLED then. Oh, the Amoeba Record Store. Okay, I got you, Alexis. The old CRT TV. Ugh. Do I own any 80s TV just for the retro feeling? No, I not at all. I mean, I always complain about things today being worse, but I won't complain about televisions being worse today. Televisions today are much better than what we had in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s. One of the few good things about the 21st century are the TV technology styles. You know, it's one of the few things I can champion about the miserable and disgusting and uninhabitable 21st century. Yeah, oh, the TVs were pretty heavy. Are you kidding me? You better believe the TVs are heavy. I had a Sony Trinitron square TV. That thing, it took like three people to lift it. Have I seen most of my DVD and Blu-ray collection? About half of it. I guess, yeah, half of it or three quarters of most of it, maybe. I mean, I would say the longevity of TVs, televisions are not built to last. these days. The durability, the life of TVs are not very much today. But I think that they look better, is what I'm saying. I think they just look better, as far as the watching programming on there. HD TV and all that. HD is definitely better. HD TV is definitely better than non HD TV. Well, Sony, back in the days when I had the square Sony Trinitron, I always had Sony. So what's going on, folks? Hit that like button. If you want to help out the channel, I take donations. I don't mention that very often, but I'm going to start a little more. You know, donations are not at all required; they're just appreciated. Yeah, Blu-ray definitely spoiled me as well, for sure. Yeah, all kinds of high definition in general. You know. Yeah. Some people still like Laserdisc. I'm actually proud to say that I never got into Laserdisc because Laserdiscs are very like heavy and very like record albums. Very clumsy and heavy, and you got to flip them over and all that. And then I knew eventually they'd go to a smaller disc. I had a feeling. Henry says Tom's movie channel is going to be great. I'm expecting a lot of good things from Tom's movie channel. Yes, well, mostly because he really, really loves movies and all kinds of movies. Have you organized vinyl in your new place? No, not as much as I'd like. I don't have a new place. I've been in this place for 8 years. Tom Hunyadi. Yeah, I don't know how we watch TV on such a small screen. Yeah, we watched them on like 19-inch screens, man. 20-inch screen. I've never seen Face Off with Nicolas Cage. I'm not a Nicolas Cage guy. Be honest with you. Trying to show a comment here and I can't. Show. Show. What do you mean another moderator? I got a message that says another moderator just handled this. What moderator? Pirate Gamer Boy, why are you saying me? I'm a little mixed up. There are a lot of Nicolas Cage movies, I gotta say. Yeah, I don't have. Yeah, I don't have other mods, so I don't know what's going on with that. I had something here from Farrell McNulty that said a quote. Farrell McNulty made a quote saying, "I thought 19-inch was the shit." Did that come through for you guys? Because I approved it. It came up as approval. Henry, the only thing is I like you, but you come up with you like to try to bust my balls a lot. I don't know what the hell your problem is with that. Best Dracula equals all, but you are just a kid. You're 20 years old. You haven't seen all the Draculas. So at your age, I wouldn't be surprised at all. You actually think De Niro is the best Frankenstein? It's the worst Frankenstein that ever lived. Even De Niro fans say that. Even Tom says that. Well, you didn't, Farrell, you didn't, nothing you said was bad. The algorithm or whatever misinterpreted it as a bad thing, you know? But it was fine with me, fine to, by me. I'm fine with it. Tell you the truth, I think I'd rather have the filter more sensitive than not. Tell you the truth. Well, Henry, I don't know when you're kidding. I don't know when you're kidding. Now, Oldman is a terrible Dracula. If you want a lover boy, a hero, you know, that's not Dracula. Oh, great. So we got to hear, not only do we have to hear De Niro crap from you, we got to hear Oldman crap now. He's also a terrible, terrible Dr. Zachary Smith. Okay, terrible Dr. Zachary Smith from Lost in Space. There's only one Dr. Smith. Oh dear, oh the pain, the pain. Jonathan Harris. So, what's my favorite actor who played John Lennon? What's his name again? Ian Hart? The guy from Backbeat, Ian Hart. Now, I think that's his name, Ian Hart. I told you, when I watched the movie Backbeat, I believe that that's John Lennon, a young, rowdy John Lennon. But please don't remind me, as everybody always will. He was in another movie later on, playing John Lennon later on. I don't watch the other movie. I'm not interested. You know, I'm just not. That's not my thing. Yeah, unfortunately, no. De Niro was not Dr. Smith. Gary Oldman was Dr. Smith. How about the guy who played the vampire on? Yeah, okay. In the original Night Stalker movie, yeah, it was Barry Atwater. He was kind of scary at the time. He was kind of creepy. Well, there's a lot of stunt work in that movie. The original TV movie of the Night Stalker, a lot of artificial stunt work. Do I like anything by Billy Ocean? Doesn't he do Caribbean Queen, which is that's a good song. But other than that, I don't think I know anything. You know, Caribbean Queen. What's my favorite Dracula movie? Hmm. Dracula's Daughter is my favorite movie. It has something to do with Dracula, and Dracula's not even in it. But with the movie with Dracula in it, the Bela Lugosi Dracula, 31. Um, I like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, which has Dracula in it. There's a movie I like called The Return of Dracula from 1958. It has Francis Lederer as Dracula, 50s Dracula. And yeah, that's among my favorites. As far as Christopher Lee, I like Christopher Lee as Dracula. I just don't think the movies are very good, including the first one. I think it's I think it's good, the first Hammer Dracula with Lee, just not very good, you know. So the Spanish Dracula, I do like it. I think the Spanish Dracula of 1931, I think it's very well shot. It's got a lot of good camera tricks in there. It's just visually better looking than the Todd Browning U.S. Dracula 31. The problem with the Spanish version is I can't stand Carlos Villaris as Dracula. He's terrible. He's pathetically clowny. That's the problem with it, in my opinion. Of course, we're talking, and in a lot of people's opinions. Truth be told, top three monster movies. My favorite monster movie is Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. It's the first movie to team up, uh, you know, classic monsters. It's hard to pick my favorite monster films. There's so many of them, but that's my first. That's the one I always say. And then there are so many others. I mean, I probably like hundreds of them, so I can't really pick them. I just know that's my very favorite. No, I've never seen Cujo. I never saw the movie. At least not the whole thing. Maybe on TV. Maybe I caught some of it on television, but that's not the same as seeing the whole thing in a theater. I don't count a movie as having been seen if I only saw some of it. Excuse me. That's what the water is for and the cough drops. Yeah, the original King Kong. It is a great monster movie, and I think you're right, David, when you say the greatest monster movie of all time, or one of them. Yeah, that probably is true. The problem is, I really don't like the stop motion little King Kong was like this big in real life, and they kind of like moved him a little at a time and shot his arms moving and stuff. I still like the guys in the suits. I would rather watch the Japanese King Kong versus Godzilla, or even the Japanese King Kong Escapes, rather than watch the original Kong. Although, like I said, the original 33 Kong is a great action movie. It is. It really is. It moves really quick. If some of you out there have never seen the original King Kong, once it gets going, well, you have to wait till they get King Kong into the action. But once they meet King Kong, it's nonstop action. I never watched Ultraman. No. Oh yeah, I love the 1932 Old Dark House. Yeah, and currently there's a beautiful print of it. I forget what company did it. Might have been, was it Kino? I don't really know. But for a long time, they didn't have good materials. That was a lost film for many years. And then when it finally came out, the copy they used was pretty weak. But now they went to the Library of Congress and got like right out of the looks like it was made today. Quality wise. Phantom Carriage. I don't know the Phantom Carriage. Hmm. A lot of movies I'm going to have to catch up with. That's why I'm thinking of taking the plunge and putting the movies here. We'll see how it goes. I like some westerns. I'm not a big westerns guy, but I like some. I didn't care for the A-Team of Starsky and Hutch. It's funny. I grew up in the '70s and '80s, really, and I watched a lot of that stuff. But there's a lot of it I haven't seen, even classics. You know. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love the Creature from the Black Lagoon as well. You know, there were three Creature from the Black Lagoon movies, and my favorite is actually the third one, that people think is the worst one. You know, third one being the Creature Walks Among Us. They take the Creature from the Black Lagoon, they capture him, and they take his gills off and try to make him like a human and put him in. He's wearing like a suit, walking around in clothes as a land creature. And I like that. Favorite monster movie actors? Well, Boris Karloff probably is the king of horror and well deserving. But Bela Lugosi is right there. You know, it's hard for me. I can't really pick between Karloff and Lugosi. It's like Lennon and McCartney. You know, which one do you pick? I think Lugosi gets a too much of an unfair deal. Yeah, well, I have seen. I saw the. Yes, I've seen the Creature movies in 3D, but more importantly, I went to the movie theater. I saw the original Creature from the Black Lagoon in a movie theater in 3D. I mean, in Manhattan, in the city. Yeah, it was a double feature. They had the Creature from the Black Lagoon in 3D. With it came from outer space in 3D. So yeah, I don't know House. Uh, Charlie, hello. I have no interest in Yogi Berra whatsoever. Okay, and all I say is when I know he has that saying, "It ain't over till it's over." But as far as it being over, the world's over. It's over. It's finished. It's done. We have no way of getting back. I wish there was, but so it is over in that regard. Which of the Beatles wrote the greatest song or your favorite song during their solo careers, in your opinion? And which song is that? Which of the Beatles wrote the greatest song or your favorite song? It's hard for me to pick a favorite song of the solo years. I hate to cop out on you because I like a lot of them, but maybe I'm Amazed is one of my favorite solo songs, and Paul wrote that. You know, um, you know, I always loved the song Imagine, and that's a classic. John wrote Imagine, of course. Now, the thing is about Imagine, I remember loving it in the '70s when John was still alive and the world was different. And Imagine just was a really good, hopeful song of the future. Maybe one day we'll all get along. And that's all it was. But now, when you listen to Imagine, the problem with that song for me is a lot of people hate that song these days because a lot of people think it's like severely commie song, and all that. And so a lot of people insult the song or say it's garbage. And aside from that, get no politics with that. But aside from that, the problem is that since John was murdered, the song Imagine becomes like some kind of otherworldly kind of swan song, a prayer to John, kind of like a martyr's last words and things. It kind of took on a different feel to it. No, I love Photograph as well. I bought Photograph out of 45 when I was 11 years old. I went to the store when Photograph came out. I was 11. And I went to the store and I plunked down my 50 cents or whatever a record was then, 50, 75 cents, plunked the money down. And I went in there and I picked out the single. They used to have, a lot of you know, they used to have little shelves. You'd go up to the record store, there would be little slots. All the 45s were like, there would be about like 20 or 30 45s laying flat in each slot. I'd look for the photograph slot and pull it out, and I got that picture sleeve with Ringo in the aluminum foil, looks like star. Well, I agree with you, Henry. That's what I think. You know, people read too much into the song Imagine now. They read way too much into it. It basically just means, wouldn't it be nice if everybody was the same in the sense that we all, no, nobody was any different. We all were equals and we got along and there was no bullshit. That's all it really means. If you want to start getting in and taking lyrics, you know, and every word, and analyze it, and put it into today's mindset, it gets crazy. And yeah, what is life? I love the song "What Is Life" for sure. I see we have chairs. We have some people that just. It's a beautiful sunny day. Some people have just pulled chairs up, and they're probably going to sit outside in the chairs and talk. So get ready for that. They're right outside. You're probably going to be able to hear them. Can I rate the Beatles' solo careers from one and four, four being the least favorite? Well, my least favorite solo career is probably, geez, I guess Ringo's. Even though I think Ringo has a lot of good stuff. Three would be George. Two would be John, and number one would be Paul. You know, Paul just the reason Paul's solo career is number one for me is what a lot of people say because there's just so much of it. You know, you're talking about 50 years, 50 plus years of solo Paul. Well, that Imagine No Possessions line, I don't, it really bothers me when people pick on that line, Imagine No Possessions, and say John's a hypocrite. Like I sit here now, and if I was to sing my version of Imagine, I would say Imagine no internet, Imagine no social media. I wonder if you can. We're all so into it. And that doesn't mean that I have to stop making videos or give up these live streams because I think it would be a better world. If we went back to the times before social media, I think social media and the internet ruined this world. I do. Now, there's good things about it, just like right now, us sharing time together, us talking. This is a good thing. But overall, cell phones, smartphones, Android phones, internet, social media, apps have taken something out of this world. So I could easily long for a time when there was, go hark back to a time when there was no social media. I can say imagine no social media and still do it. You know, I'm not going to give it up. You know what I'm trying to say? That's how it is with possessions. He's just saying possessions, these are the things that cause war. You know, greed. You remember, he says, imagine no possession, no need for greed or hunger, you know? So the thing is, these are all the things that cause wars and problems in the world. Mad quest for money and possessions. But that doesn't mean you give up your possessions or your money yourself. You know, John's not going to start a war over possessions. You know, John's not going to get greedy and start a world war over money. He doesn't have to give up his money. Anyway, I just think it's how literally people take that imagine no possessions line is crazy. What's my favorite solo Beatles compilation album? There are a lot of them. These days, I still got to go with Wings Greatest. I mean, I bought Wings Greatest in 1978, and I thought it really hit the spot. I think it covers Paul's career in the 70s perfectly. Um, the only thing wrong with it is it doesn't have Listen to What the Man Said on it. That song really needed to be on there. But other than that, but would Paul be first for you as a solo artist, even if John was still alive? Oh, you mean back then? No, back in 1980, I think John was my favorite solo artist. When John was alive, John was probably my favorite solo artist, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah, Mick64 says you can no longer watch the news. When you watch it, you see the things you may not want to see. Yeah, the problem is though, I'm flawed. I'm a flawed human, and I like to see the stuff. And also, I want to stay, you know, I don't know. I just want to stay in touch. As bad as things are, I'd rather not put my, you know, head in the sand, so to speak. What do we got here? Martin McGrath. No hell below us, above us only sky is so true. Um, you know, I don't know why John sings "Imagine There's No Heaven." I really don't understand that. I think what he says is there's no heaven. Imagine there's no heaven. That doesn't mean that he doesn't think there is. But imagine to imagine something doesn't mean it doesn't exist now. Anyway, I think he meant in my interpretation. Imagine there's no heaven and hell, just what you have here. Live in the moment, enjoy today all together, have a good time, get it together now in the present, and don't worry about heaven, hell, whatever. I don't know, but again, I don't think people should really analyze the song. That's true. The best line in the song: imagine all the world living life in peace." Exactly. Sharing all the world, living life in peace. And that's why that song will never go out of style because you'll never have world peace. I regret to say, folks, you're never gonna have world peace, or at least you're never gonna have it. I'm watching it. People are outside. You're never gonna have it in our lifetime, not in my lifetime. So the song Imagine will always be strong because we're never going to have what it hopes for. I do not think Band on the Run is an overrated album at all. In fact, I myself have been underrating Band on the Run. A lot of times when I've been doing my list of Paul McCartney albums, favorites and stuff, I tend to put Band. I remember doing the top five and did not put Band on the Run in the top five. That's crazy. In my opinion, Band on the Run is a very good album, one of Paul's best. It deserves to be in the top five, top three. There's some songs I'm not wild about on there. I'm not wild about No Words. I'm not wild about Picasso's Last Words. Yeah, I think Egypt Station is overrated because people praise it like it's one of his greatest albums, and to me, it's not at all. Egypt Station is mid tier. You got high level, low level, and middle level. To me, Egypt Station is middle, and people think it's one of his best albums, and I just don't agree with that at all. I wouldn't say Paul's work was not as good as John's up while he was alive. No, I think John and Paul were about equal. I always say this. I did a video about it. It's an old video. You might want to look it up, but I don't know how you're going to find it. But I think during the years that in the 70s and 1980, they both John and Paul each did work. I think John and Paul's work from 1970 through 70, say 75, is pretty matchable. I think they both match each other pretty well. And then I think in 1980, I think they were comparable as well. I think in 1980, John's work was better than Paul's. I think John's work on Double Fantasy is better than Paul's work on McCartney too. I made a video about that, and I really found they came out kind of even, the two of them, in my opinion. What's my favorite book about Elvis? I'm not familiar enough with the Elvis books, sorry to say. Would you say there's a single Beatles solo album that's equal to or better than a Beatles album? I wouldn't say there is. There's never been a solo album. Let me put it this way. In my opinion, there's never been a solo album better than any Beatles album. But there are solo albums that are as good as Beatles albums. One of them would be All Things Must Pass. I think All Things Must Pass is as good as Abbey Road, say. And I think that maybe Ram is as good as, or better than, maybe it is better. Ram is as good as Beatles for Sale. You know. Yes, Paul McCartney's song "Coming Up" is very odd sounding, but that's why I love it. And the album McCartney 2 is an experimental album where Paul was experimenting with odd sounds and primitive machine that was used, and he's trying to have fun and make oddball stuff. It's supposed to be oddball. That's the idea of it. You'll have to excuse me for a moment, folks. I got to turn the camera the other way. All right. So now you could see. I think I forgot to take some vitamins. Got to do that. How do you like the view? Where's the comments? I'm still here. You see that big beanbag chair over there? That big blue beanbag chair? Almost done here. Come on, folks. Where's the comments? All right, turn it back. That was weird. Nobody commented. Drink so much water, it's coming out of my ears. Makes you belch, excuse me. What's a good word, folks? You got any good words? Come on, man. Did all you disappear? I have nothing to say, folks. It's up to you. Get out of my way. Get out of my life. I don't need anybody to tell me how to be right. Well, should I hang up the discussion? Nobody seems to be out there. Something's weird here. I'm going to flip this around one more time. I need a comment, even if it's just a hello. I want to make sure it's working. Just say hello. Because it's very strange. I usually see the amount of people that are in the chat, and I don't see it this time. That's odd. I begin to think there's something technically wrong here. Oh well, if I gotta stop it, so be it. I don't think comments are showing anymore for me. If people are making comments, I don't see them. I regret to say. Um, that's only because I flipped the camera around. That was weird. Yeah, there's something's going on here. Well, folks, I'll try something else. If this don't work, this may be the end of the chat. It was a good one, but let's see. No, I don't know. I'm not seeing any comments. There must be a way. There must be a way. No. This is crazy. All messages are visible. Live chat. I'm working here at this, folks. Don't worry. Top chat. Now I don't have anything. All right. Let's see if there's a way to go out and come back.